Throughout history, humanity has sought belonging, meaning, and guidance. For most, these needs are fulfilled through family, community, or faith. But in the shadows, there exist movements that twist these desires into something far darker. They call themselves spiritual groups, communes, or societies. But to the outside world, they are known by another name, cults. This is the story of the world's most dangerous cults, their rise, their shocking crimes, and their inevitable fall. Every dangerous movement begins the same way, with a leader. A man or woman who claims to have all the answers. Often charismatic, persuasive, and seemingly enlightened, these figures attract the vulnerable, people searching for hope, love, or salvation. Psychologists say cult leaders exploit three powerful human needs: certainty, belonging, and purpose. They offer clear rules in a chaotic world. They provide family for those who feel alone. And above all, they promise a higher calling, something worth sacrificing everything for. But what happens when that higher calling is a lie? Jim Jones preaching with fiery passion. Images of Guyana jungle compound. In the 1950s, a young preacher named Jim Jones built a reputation for progressive values in the American Midwest. His group, the People's Temple, welcomed African Americans, the poor, and the marginalized. It looked like a beacon of hope. But beneath the surface, Jones was already manipulating his followers. He demanded total loyalty, staged fake healings, and preached that he alone could lead them to a utopian future. By the 1970s, Jones had moved hundreds of followers to the jungles of Guyana. There, he built a compound called Jonestown. He promised paradise. What he created was a prison. Members worked long hours, food was scarce, and dissenters were punished. When U.S. Congressman Leo Ryan traveled to Jonestown to investigate, he was assassinated by Jones's gunmen. Moments later, Jim Jones ordered his followers to drink cyanide-laced punch. Narrator. November 18, 1978. Over 900 people died in a single day. Parents fed poison to their children. Entire families collapsed together. Jonestown remains the deadliest cult tragedy in modern history. 1990s TV clips, wide-eyed members smiling in interviews, photos of the comet Hale-Bopp. Not all cults end in violence. Some end in mass delusion. In the 1970s, Marshall Applewhite and Bonnie Nettles founded Heaven's Gate. They believed Earth was doomed, and salvation would come only by leaving their human bodies and joining a spaceship following a comet. For years, the group lived in isolation, dressed in identical clothes, renounced sex, and followed bizarre rituals. To outsiders, they looked like harmless eccentrics. But inside, their leader's control was absolute. In 1997, as the Hale-Bopp comet passed Earth, Applewhite convinced 39 members to commit mass suicide. They believed their souls would ascend to the waiting spacecraft. The sight of their lifeless bodies, lying neatly on bunk beds with identical uniforms and shrouds, shocked the world. Tokyo subways, chaos, emergency responders in hazmat suits. Some cults pursue not just spiritual control, but global domination. In Japan, Shoko Asahara founded Aum Shinrikyo, blending Buddhism, Hinduism, and apocalyptic visions. He proclaimed himself Christ reincarnated and predicted World War III. His followers included scientists and engineers, educated people who built chemical labs and weapons under his command. On March 20, 1995, Aum Shinrikyo carried out a deadly gas attack on the Tokyo subway, releasing sarin nerve gas during rush hour. 13 people died, and thousands were injured. For the first time, the world realized that a cult could function like a terrorist organization, with weapons of mass destruction. 1960s California, hippie communes, mugshots of Charles Manson and his followers. In the summer of 1969, Hollywood was shaken by one of the most infamous murders in American history. Charles Manson, a failed musician and self-proclaimed prophet, gathered a group of young followers at a desert ranch. He preached of an impending race war, calling it Helter Skelter, inspired by a Beatles song. Under his influence, his followers carried out brutal murders, most notoriously the slaying of actress Sharon Tate, who was pregnant at the time. Manson never killed with his own hands, but his power over his followers was absolute. They believed they were serving a higher purpose. Manson's crimes revealed the terrifying truth: a single man's charisma could transform ordinary people into willing killers. Children singing hymns, images of communes. Founded in the late 1960s by David Berg, the Children of God promised free love, communal living, and spiritual awakening. But it quickly descended into one of the most disturbing cults in history. Members were encouraged to engage in sexual relationships as a form of worship, even involving children. Abuse was widespread, hidden under the guise of divine love. Though the group later rebranded itself as the Family International, survivors continue to speak out about the trauma they endured. The Children of God is a chilling reminder that behind the smiles and songs of some groups lies systematic exploitation. News trials, celebrity members smiling, Keith Raniere in interviews. Cults aren't relics of the past. In recent years, one group proved just how modern and sophisticated manipulation can become. NXIVM was marketed as a self-help organization. Led by Keith Raniere, it attracted actors, heiresses, and business professionals with the promise of personal empowerment. But behind closed doors, women were branded with Raniere's initials, forced into sexual servitude, and blackmailed into silence. In 2019, Raniere was convicted on charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, and conspiracy. His downfall showed how cult dynamics can still thrive, disguised under the language of success and self-improvement. For every cult that ends in tragedy, there are survivors who escape and rebuild. They carry scars, both emotional and physical, but their voices shine light on the darkness. Their testimonies warn others of the red flags, groups that demand secrecy, discourage questioning, or demand blind obedience. Psychologists and sociologists stress the importance of education. Understanding how manipulation works is the first defense against it.